Hello there, guys. Welcome back. We are going to continue now with the rest, but I think we're going to have to be a little bit more hands-on with this because I think the concept we're going to have to cover, I think that better is demonstrating and actually going through this. But I think I'm going to probably quickly showcase something like the group loops, and then how can we improve those edges if we just don't have something that is a clean edge. So we know that if we press Control Shift, okay, we're here, Control Shift. Let me slide that here. I'm gonna get rid of the perspective so we can do good selection. If I press Control Shift, I have the mouse to go into Trim, Slice, or just going into Click Brush. So if let's say I want to create something that is sort of mechanical here, and I just want to create a little bit of sort of like a line in there, okay? Or I'm just gonna split it or something, whatever. So you're gonna press Control Shift, and I'm just gonna go into the slice curve, and I want to trim it. Just gonna slice it first. So I'm gonna slice this, and I have this, okay? So we know that this is a selection, right? That is quite clean. So if I press Control Shift click here, you can see that the line is perfect. Okay, so if I fill this hole using close holes, oh, I don't think that's gonna work because I need to split them first. So I'm gonna go here into Subtool. I'm gonna split hidden, and then I'm gonna hide the other one, and then I'm gonna take this guy, and I'm just gonna go into Geometry, and I'm gonna say close hole. So I got a hole close here. Okay, so if I have this, you can see that this is really nice. Okay, so if by any chance I want to see what this geometry is going to look like if I had more detail or higher geometry, I can just dynamically do it on the viewport, just like Maya when you press number 3 and things get moved in the viewport, but they're not actually the geometry. There is a way to do it here, which is by pressing Dynamic Subdivision, then hitting the button Dynamic Subdivision. You can see here the line is pretty clean. A little bit of jagged edges there, okay, but that is okay for now, okay. But just gonna click this, and I'm just gonna undo this. This is only a temporary thing, guys. If you want, you can apply it, and then it will subdivide the thing for you, so you have more geometry. But this is only a dynamic viewport temporary thing, okay. So if I want to have a nice edge in here, I can do something called group loops, okay? In group loop, you can find it in the geometry tab. You go here into edge loops, and there's a section here called group loops. In group loop, what it does, it takes for every polygroup, it creates like an extra loop of geometry that will help you create like a really nice crispy edge. And you can tell them how many loops you want, and you can actually polish that if you want to. If things are too hard, you can actually polish it. So if we do it the setting as they are, and we click group loops, and what it does, it seems like nothing happened, but what it did was it created fresh geometry on the edges by going here. Zoom in, you can see here it literally took and put a polygroup on each of these edges. Okay, so now, okay, it seemed like nothing happened, but now when let me undo that, I just touched this by mistake. Now, when I do the subdivision temporarily, the dynamic one, we should have now clean, crispy edges. You remember the little artifact that we have even with the cut? They are gone now because now we have this really nice loop that are put for you automatically that will help you make things a little bit cleaner. Okay, so if you go dynamic off, and then you go here, you can see that things get really nice, okay? And at the moment this works because obviously the cut was quite clean, but if you want to create your own cuts, let's say that you want to create, you press Control, okay, and you paint a mask here, okay? Just remember that you can do that by just pressing Control and drawing. You can see this is a mask, and you can actually create a polygroup from this mask by going into polygroups, and you tell them to create a group from the mask. And it does, it creates a group here, you can see. It's very subtle, the color here. Hope you can see it there, but you can see it, it's very, I don't know why. Let me do another color that is a bit more. Group mask, okay, that one is a bit more. Okay, so it created a polygroup from the selection, you can see. And because the selection was fairly low res, it actually created a group for the edges. And obviously the polygroups that we had before, they were gone because it created only the polygroups in the actual masking. If you wanted to protect the other one, you could have just split the geometry or just hiding or masking or something, and then just do that. But for now, so if I do this, obviously, if I wanted to have a little bit extruding this thing out a little bit, then it will not help, because let's say that you wanted to extrude this out. So let me show you how can you extrude things automatically here in ZBrush. So if you wanted to extrude this out, if you press Control Shift, if you go into selection mode, you press Control Shift, and you are in move mode. Remember the gizmo thing that we have here. If you press Control and Shift and click on one polygroup, this is a really nifty feature. What it does, it masks everything else, okay, and it only leaves the polygroup that you actually selected, okay, and you can actually then, if you move them, this is what happened, okay, and this is obviously, you don't want that, this is too jagged. If you want to create a cleaner mesh, if you want to, you remember when we did this thing for the finger, that we put one finger and then we press Control, click and move, press Control here and move it, it does extrusion, you see, it created an extra extrusion here, okay, but it is very jagged because the resolution of this geometry is quite rough, okay. So if you want to improve that, okay, so you want to improve this. The moment if you do that, this is what you get. You see, you get like a variation. Look at this profile here. This is without pressing Control, just moving things around. Look at it. Now when you press Control and hold, and you move, you see it's like a proper extrusion. It's like a nice clean. It doesn't blend between one polygroup and another. You see, keep an eye on this. Now without the control, you see there's a big difference. With the control, things are straighter now, but obviously this will not help because we have these polygroups here. They are actually blending, and the masking that we did was very low res, but we can improve this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to draw. I'm going to clear the mask by pressing Control, click and drag. Okay, don't do it again because I think this has let me see, what is it? Dynamesh on by default. If I press Control again, look what happened. It Dynamesh everything again. So we don't want that because it will mess the edges. Look at the edges here. Undo. Look, we got these crispy edges. We only want to work on these guys. Okay. So don't do Control again. Oh, if you just don't want to know that you don't want to do it for a while, just uncheck it for now and then switch it back on later on. So again, if we wanted to extrude this guy, we're going to have some nice edges. And for the nice edges, we can actually use the feature that I just shown you, which is the edge loops. So you go here, Features, Edge Loop, go here into Polygroup. You can tell them how many polygroups you want. Let's put 2 for now. This is how much you're going to be polishing this edge. You think 50 too much, you can just reduce it. Leave it around 50 and see what happens. So say Group Loops. Look at that. It does a fairly good job. Okay, obviously this was too low res. If we wanted to improve that, we could have just done a masking, a clipping brush selection using this. For example, this the slice curve that we used before, we can use the slice circle perhaps. And that could have been much better. I don't know. That's an idea. But now increase this polish a little bit more to 100 and say Group Loops. Look at that. That's a pretty good job still, but not 100% as we want it. But now, okay, when we press Control Shift and in the move brush, you press Control Shift and click on that polygroup, you see it will mask everything else and deselect. Well, let me do that again. Let me clear the mask and then going to move, and I'm going to press Control Shift and click on this polygroup. You can see everything else is masked, and you put just a control in there. But if you wanna reset where the control is, the gizmo is, you press this button, you reset it, you put it back to home. That will be in the middle. If you put it here, it will put it into that section. Okay, it will does this because we did symmetry. Okay, so let's put it back to here. Okay. We did it on both sides, but we have the symmetry on. Okay, so now when I move, if I press Control, if I move without Control, okay, oh sorry, my bad. I need to lock it first, and then this is what happened. Okay, seems like it's fairly good, but look what happened when I let me reset this again by pressing. I'm gonna clear the mask. Let's do it again. Control. Click here. Okay, let's do that again. So we had this guy. Okay, we did the edge loops. Okay, now we know that we have it on the other side. Now if we press Control Shift and then we click on here, oops, Control Shift, you have to be in move, you see, if you complete it. You click here, you get this. Okay, I'm just gonna reset it, lock it again. Okay, and now when I press Control and hold and I click on this, look at the nice edge line. Okay, it's very nice and clean. Look without the control. Still fairly good, but you can see there's a little bit of jagged here, edges here. You can see in there. This is what it does, it's actually extrusion. So you press Control, click and drag. Okay, now when you go here, you uncheck this, clear the mask, you can see that the line is quite clean. Obviously, we did this in a very low resolution, and that's why you get those warpy edges. That would be not ideal. There are another methods to improve this. So if we clear this, and then we go into Dynamic Subdivision, hit the Dynamic button, you can see that when things are smoothed out, you can see, this is the representation in the viewport. Look. Okay, they're smooth. But obviously, this is just an example. Let me start again, and I'm going to show you something a little bit cleaner. Okay, so let's do it again. So if I press Control Shift, okay, and I do the slice curve, and I do this, okay, I do that stuff, okay. Now, if I press Control Shift with the mode this one, and you press Control Shift and click on this, see everything else is masked. Oops. Unlock this and reset it and lock it. Now if I move it, it moves it, okay, because the edge is quite clean, that should be okay. But if you press Control and click and drag, it's an extrusion, okay, it's way cleaner that way. So let's do another example. I'm just gonna go here into draw. I'm gonna go back to the beginning here again, and I'm going to just press the control here. Look at this. I'm gonna press Control Shift with drawing. I'm just only gonna show this. I'm gonna turn this into a polygroup. Okay. The edges are not 100% this time because you see there's a little bit of a jagged there. I just want to demonstrate something. So I'm gonna go into polygroups. Says group visible. Control Shift click shows everything. If I now am in draw mode and I press Control Shift and click on one polygroup, it automatically masks everything else and keep that polygroup available. So now the gizmo is all messed up. You just hit this button, reset it, you align it to the world, and then lock it back in. Now when you move, okay, you get this. Okay, it's a bit tricky to demonstrate because you can see here there's a little bit of a warping in this. Look. Oops. Okay, now they stop working. Okay, that's because for some reason all gets stuck sometimes. You can see here there's a little bit of a warpiness there. Look at it. Keep an eye on this warpiness there. Might not be much now, but you can see that there's some sort of artifacts. That's because I didn't press Control. Now let me undo this. Now what happened when I do the same but with extrusion? This time I press Control, click and hold, and then drag. Let's see if that improves. Now you can see it's cleaner, but I think this is just the viewport that I have here, but I'm pretty sure it's cleaner because it's actually an extrusion. Before it would just pull in the points out as they are, and there's going to be a little bit of a jagged edge there. Okay, so you're pressing Control, click and drag. It's like making the copy when you have separate meshes. Do you remember when we did this? Draw, and if I drew this, okay, and if I press in the draw mode, draw again, this one here. If I'm going to move, you can see if I press Control, I make a copy. You see, as many as I want. It's the same here. If you select a polygroup that is actually connected, then you press Control and click and drag, you actually extrude in the geometry and you create like a really nice clean topology. You're not actually pulling things out. Okay? So, let's go back to this. This is where we are at the moment. Okay, so that will be the polygroups and extrusion using the gizmo, the group loops. Okay. Then I think what we can do now, we can, let me see, we got 15 minutes. Let's start working on something here quickly, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to show you something on how to make this a little bit more mechanical, for mechanical work, okay? Then we have time, we cover the boolean, probably we continue the next one, okay? And I think I demonstrated some of this for you on Friday. I just wanna go through here again, okay? Okay, so symmetry, where is my symmetry first of all? This is my symmetry, okay? That's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into just the, I'm gonna click that so I have more space, more room there. I got rid of the perspective so I can make my clipping precise. So I'm gonna go here into, I'm gonna press Control Shift, okay, and then I'm gonna select my my trimming curve, okay, trim curve. Okay, I'm just gonna go here, and I'm just gonna click here, and I'm just gonna trim this. Okay, you can see it gave me this. I'm gonna trim here. Okay, it doesn't give me the symmetry because it doesn't work with symmetry. So I'm gonna trim this in there. Okay, and then I'm gonna make this to the other side symmetrical. Okay, I'm gonna go into geometry, modify topology, mirror and well, and you get that. I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna press Control Shift with the trim brush again. Clip here, clip there, clip a little bit more. Okay. Now I want to make this longer. I got the option to go into move and then scale it up. Okay. You can do that here as well using these brushes, this tab, the deformation tab. The deformation tab is quite good, guys, because you can polish, you can mirror things like we did before. You can polish, get rid of that. If you do this, it will polish. You see, you can get these edges, round edges. You can offset. This is like transform in Maya, rotate and size, scale. So if I want to change in size, I want to change it in the Z axis. So I need to check which is the axis that I want to work on. So I need to uncheck those two. And I can do this. And again, like I said before, you can just do that as well. It's the same. You can do a lot of stuff from here. Okay. You can smooth things. You can inflate things out. Look, inflating based on the polygroup. So I'm just gonna do it like that. Okay. And now I'm going to continue clipping this. I'm going to press Control Shift, and I'm just going to clip this in here. I'll clip this in here, and I want to pass this to this side. So I made a mistake. I did it on the negative X. So I had to first mirror, and then I'm going to mirror and well. And now we have that. Okay. We don't care about topology here, guys. That's why I told you at the beginning. Do not fix yourself too much in the topology because you're gonna miss a lot of topology. All this stuff here is gonna go. Okay. So at the moment I have this. Okay. This is something that you think is good. You wanna work on that. That's fine. Now you need to decide what you're gonna do with this. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to perhaps Z-remesh it, or sorry, Dynamesh, and put it all together in a single watertight shell. Okay. With a fairly high resolution geometry. Okay. I can do that. I can probably go here. Just if I want to keep these hard edges, I can go into geometry, go into Dynamesh. It's on by default, but let's increase this to, I don't know, 500. I want to press Control, click and drag to activate the algorithm. And it does this. So it gave me now 600,000 polygons. That's fine. And then the clipping is okay. You can still, if you think that some of the edges are a little bit jagged, all you have to do is press Control Shift, go into the clipping mode, because remember the clipping mode just clip things out, so you can just draw not that line like that on the other opposite. Remember the dark bit is the one that's going to come down, so you're going to click here and then click and drag, and now you can make this nice and sharp again. You can do this. Okay, you got symmetry, so it works on both. The clipping works with symmetry, and again, I'm gonna press Control Shift, draw here. I don't think it did much, but if you want to be more precise, you can just do that. No, not like that. But to draw it from the bottom up, so here, and do that. No, we don't want that. We want this like this. So it clips that now, nice and sharp. Don't worry about this polygroups, that's completely unnecessary at the moment. So I'm gonna press, this is no, maybe around here. Clip in there again. Symmetry is not working on the back, so we're gonna too much. I have to do it the opposite this way. Okay, and I snap to the view, so it's nice. So now you can see that this stuff is really nice and sharp again. You see? And now I have 600,000 polygons. Okay, so I want to turn this into two pieces that are like sort of mechanical. Okay, and they look like they're being combined and they've been working together. But first, I'm gonna take one chunk out. Just imagine that you're doing block out and you wanna take a big chunk out of this, okay? At the moment, I decided I'm gonna take one bit here like this. I'm gonna take this section here like that, and then it's gonna be a cutout through. And then I'm gonna show you another technique how to do it using Boolean. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, let's do that using the trim brushes, or the slice brushes. Sorry. Go here, select my slice brush, and then I'm gonna draw one line that goes like this, and then one that goes like that. Okay. In order for me to minimize my work, I'm gonna make sure that I'm doing the stuff that I want on the positive X, which is this side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press Control Shift. I'm already in slice curve, so I'm gonna go all the way to the top. I go do that. Okay. I can go here to geometry. Sorry, geometry. Modify topology. Mirror and well. That's fine. I don't care about this for now. And I'm just gonna, I think actually I'm not gonna, I think it's something more towards that side like this. Something like that. Okay. Mirror and well. That's fine. Now I'm gonna cut here. Okay. Doesn't matter how I draw this time. I'm just gonna create the polygroups in there. Okay. So, and I'm just gonna cut out this for now. So I'm gonna press Control Shift, go into selection mode, and I'm gonna click on this guy. And this is the only guy that I got showing. The other one's hidden. So I press Control Shift, click and drag. I invert the mask. Let's see the inside, so it's easier to view it that way. So display properties, double, so you can see some stuff inside. And now I'm gonna press Control Shift, click on this one here. So I hide that one. Control Shift, and I click and I hide that one. So you see, those there are a single shell, okay, or a single group that I want to keep, and then the other ones are going to keep it for another. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell them to split hidden, and I'm going to delete it. I'm going to split it so it will be in another subtool here. This one is from the earlier, so I'm going to take this and I'm just going to delete it. Okay, and this one here I'm going to tell them split hidden, so you can see now it's there. Look, and then the other one that I'm working on there now. So if I take this right and I say, well, I want to fill this hole, okay. Okay, so well, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna click here, okay, so double check. And at the moment, everything has a different polygroup. It doesn't matter. I can just go here into polygroup and tell them group visible, so it will create a single color, any color, doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm gonna, I don't think, oops, I think I triggered. Oh, there you see. I did this and I triggered the Dynamesh Dynamesh algorithm. So you see, because it was on. So when that happens, make sure you go in Dynamesh and uncheck it. Because what we're going to do is, we're not going to do that because it gave me too many polygons. We're going to use, it's a different way of closing this hole using the close hole here. If we click that, you see it gave me something that is fairly low res, or it's lower than the rest. So you can see, like I told you before, this stuff here, it doesn't understand the shape that we're trying to do. It just does, okay, you want to close a hole, I'm trying to do this, and I'm guessing this is what you want to do. So, I mean, I think I made a mistake. A mistake? No, I didn't. So, okay. So how do I then go and then close this hole? Okay, that is actually with the shape that I want. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, this is the easiest way I think that I found to do it. There are several ways to do it, but I think this is the easiest one. Obviously, you have a lot of geometry here. You could have just gone there and ZRemesh, Dynamesh this, ZRemesh this again, or Dynamesh again with a lower resolution, so you will have something that still keep the original shape, but probably is about 200, 300,000 instead of 500 and 600,000. But let's see what we can do. So now I want to isolate this polygroup. Okay, so I'm going to press Control Shift. Okay, and I'm going to go into Move, and I'm going to click on that polygroup. Okay, I'm going to click on that polygroup there. Okay, because I got the old, I don't know why the old gets stuck. So, and again, let me do that again. Control Shift, clicking this. You see, everything else got a mask, and then this one got unmask. Okay, so I'm going to do is I'm going to, I don't know why the old gets stuck for some reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck this, then you press Alt and do that. You reset this, and you put it back to the origin. But then this one respects the symmetry, because I got symmetry. So for now, I don't need a symmetry because I'm not going to be working on one side and the other one. So you see, I'm doing this, it's going to be doing the other side. So I'm going to press X for now to uncheck symmetry. So when I do this button, it does properly, goes right in the middle. It does understand symmetry, this gizmo. So we click here, we lock it, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to do the extrusion that we talked about earlier. So look at this. If I move it, okay, look at this. This is the part that you're probably going to see it more. So if I move this guy here down, this is what happened. Okay, I'm just moving the poly group. Look at the edges, are all jagged. Okay, now I'm going to undo that. And now look what happened when I press Control and drag. So I think that give me, did I? No, sorry. Control. Click and drag. Yeah, there you go. You can see now the edges, they're nice and straight. Good. You see the edges you saw before, they were quite just warped here. Now they are just nice and straight. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy. Okay. This is something that I'm going to show you in a second. So you take this guy, right, and we're gonna extrude it, but only a tiny touch. We're going to press Control. It's very important. You press Control, you click and drag, and you move it a little bit to the side, so you know that it's being extruded. Then forget about that, and then you scale it to 0. We do this. Scale it to 0. Look at the lines, how they are. Okay. Okay. To 0. If we check this, look at this. Nice and clean. Now let's do that. Let's do that, but I'm gonna scale it down without doing the actual control and then actually extruding it. Let's just scale it down. I'm not gonna extrude it, I'm only scaling it down to 0. I'm scaling that group to 0. Okay, look at the edges now. You see how the edges are all warped? Let's see the edges in here. Let's have a look at this section here. You can see this? It's all warped. We're killing the edge. Okay? Now, we're going to go back to this edge again, but when we do the extrusion. Okay? I'm going to do, this time, I'm going to do the extrusion. So I'm going to press Control, click and move a little bit. You can see it's being extruded. Then, doesn't matter where I move it, just a little bit. And then, when I scale it to 0, now let's analyze these edges that we have there. Okay, so look at this. Did I don't think I actually did the extrusion. Okay, let's have a look again. Let me frame this. Okay, let's start from the beginning so we know where we are. So I press Control Shift with the move brush and I click here. You see, mask everything else. I'm going to unlock this, reset it, put it back to 0, lock it again. Now I'm going to press Control, click and drag. So I did that. Let's have a look at the edges. Nice and crisp. Look at these edges here. Nice. Look at this. Nice. The other one, without doing the extrusion first, it will give you a really, really bad. You're pretty much killing the mechanical aspect. I'm just gonna. I think it's. I still got the set Dynamesh. Oh no, I think it's not. Okay. So all I have to do is move it a little bit. It doesn't matter where you move it. You can move it as long as you move it up and down. Move it to the side where you want to scale it, and then you just scale it to 0. Like this. Oops. Do that. Let's scale it to 0. Just clicking on this little box. Thingy gizmo, because that would tell me that it's going to be the scaling. So you can see I scale it there. That's fine. I'm going to press this, going to draw. I'm going to press Control, clear the mask for now. I'm going to press Control Shift, and I'm going to click on this dude. See, that's showing. The rest is hidden. So I'm going to we're going to invert the selection. So I'm going to press Control Shift, click and drag. I invert that, and so I got the other one hidden. And if you zoom in here, you see this stuff is still open. So now I don't need the other one. So I go here, Subtool, and I don't need to split it because I don't need it. So I'm gonna go here and I just go to Modify Topology, and I'm gonna go into Delete Hidden. So that is gone. So now if I want to close these holes, there are other more elegant method, guys, to close this hole, to be fair, but I'm just going to show you the one that is easy for you guys, but you're still learning. You can see, look at the nice edges. See, nice and crisp. So I'm going to close that, and you know that if we trigger the ZRemesh, or I always get it confused, the Dynamesh, we know that whatever is open is going to close it. So this stuff is quite flat, so it's not going to give me any artifacts. Excuse me. So we're going to go here into Dynamesh. I'm going to leave this guy as it was, fight something, and then I'm going to hit this button, Dynamesh. Please don't crush. And you can see it closed the hole. Might give me a little bit of art. And you see everything kept with a nice crisp edges. And here you can see it gave me nice geometry. If you want to keep smoothing it, you can smooth this out a little bit. You increase this to 13. You can smooth the edges if you want, just to give a little bit more like a mechanical look. Let me undo, and you can see the edges here. You see, it's a little bit harder now. Let me uncheck this. You can see. Look at these edges here. So if I smooth, see it's softer. And if I undo, look at these edges, it's sharper. Let's keep it the way it was. So now I'm gonna uncheck it so I don't have it by default. So now I have this mechanical thing there. See, I created this mechanical part with just few clicks. And it doesn't matter, I don't care about, guys, the topology for now. We're blocking things out. Later on I will show you how to improve the topology and all that. Okay? So now, let me put the perspective back on. You can see it. You can see this is this block out thing that we've done so far, okay? Now, if I want to cut this out and turn it into two subtools and then split out and then move them out a little bit, then we can do that. And this one as well, we can create polygroups and all the things if we want to, just whatever you want to do, it's up to you guys. So, if I want to create, let's cut this through like this in a sort of mechanical way like this, like a sort of like an intersection and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go again into, I'm going to press Control Shift, and I'm just going to go into Slice Curve, and I'm just going to go here. I'm going to press Alt twice. Oops. Undo that. I think it was, no, didn't pick it up. Press Alt twice. And then I do this. And I have now two polygroups. You can see two polygroups. So, and that thing goes all the way through inside as well. Look. So I could, let's split this guy here by polygroups. Okay, so I'm going to take this. Let's ignore that for now. I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to go into Subtool, and then I'm going to go into Subtool, and then split, Group Split. So I can split it by the polygroup. So this guy is going to want one polygroup, and this one they're going to turn two subtools here. So split by groups. That's not this is the thing that is the operation is not undoable. So let's hit OK. And I'm going to actually save just in case I don't want to lose this. Save as, and I'm just going to put it here. I'm just going to put here week 06 demo. Okay. Say that there. And you can see now that I have two subtools. So I'm just going to hide this, and I'm just going to look at this guy. This is what we have, okay? So if we want to close this, I think we might be able to do it using the stuff that we talked about before. Let me think. I think this one, if we split it, no, I think it's not gonna work because, no, I think this is quite complicated to make it work like that. I think this one, probably we're gonna have to do something different for this. But let's see what close hole does. I think it's not gonna work, but let's leave it like that. Let's have a look. Modify topology. Close holes. Yeah, it does that meshed up thing because it doesn't understand. Now in this situation here, I don't think we're going to be able to use the stuff that we talked about earlier, but let's ignore that for now because I don't think this is more advanced, guys. If I'm trying to show you that, it's going to be more advanced. I don't want to confuse you. So if I wanted to do that, then we're going to have to, yeah, it's going to be quite tricky because we're going to have to actually split into polygroups, in another polygroup here, and then start scaling those guys individually as we go along. And because there is an angle, we can, I mean, you can probably, if you go here, you can see that you can probably do this. You can just, this is fine, okay. Okay, so this is fine, I suppose. Okay, so let me see if I can do it without guys confusing it too much. So I got a problem with my tablet. I don't know what it is, man. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extrude this guy. So let's see if it works. Press Control Shift, and I'm gonna go into Control Shift, and I'm going to move, and I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna unlock this. I'm gonna reset it. I'm gonna lock again, and I'm gonna press Control. Okay, Control. I'm just gonna move it and move it up a little bit. Oops, I didn't show you how done. I think it's Control. I'm gonna press Control, move it up like this. Okay, and now it will be a matter of me going into, because the rest is locked. If I go into Draw, okay, I could technically, let's see if it works. I can just go here and press Control Shift, go into Clip Brushes, and then just clip this stuff. See, I can literally just clip things like that, like that. Yep, it works, but this stuff here, probably should have pushed it up a little bit more. Let's see what we can do. There are ways to fix this, guys, but I don't want to confuse you. Control Shift, and then okay, do that. Okay. This is a bit, oops. So it's a matter of painfully, guys, going into here and then just clipping things like this. Okay, and then clipping things manually, pretty much. Like that. Control Shift. Like that. The opposite, Control Shift, and then doing this. Okay, and then just clip them all out, and then just, yeah, it got all mushed up. Okay. Okay, let's ignore this for now. We'll come back to that and see if we can fix that later on. I think if we do the Dynamesh here, it would be the same. Perhaps what we could have done is we could have created polygroups in advance and then clip them. Yeah, you're gonna have an extra stuff. Well, this is what happens when you start doing stuff without planning it. You see, this is the problem. So anyway, so let's. I don't think I can undo this because this is all undoable. You remember when I talk about. Okay, anyway, ignore this a bit for now. Let's continue with all the stuff that's a bit more. You can see you can see here that this one is still on there. Okay. Okay, Shift. Okay, let's have a look. Okay. Okay, so I'm having an issue with my tablet, just getting stuck for some reason. When I press Alt-1, it gets stuck. This is the problem with this Huion tablet. I don't know why they haven't fixed that. Should have. Anyway, so if we wanted to create these mechanical bits that I just told you about, I think the easiest way it could have been done just to keep them together. Okay, and see if we can actually. Let's see if we can just merge them together. Let's see, with these two visible, let's merge it back on. Let's see if we can get rid of that error that we did. So I'm gonna take these two. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Hasn't got any hole fill or anything. I'm gonna put them back again because I think I made a mistake there. Okay, so let me show you, well, this demonstrate how can you do things. Well, with these two visible, you can go, if you wanna merge them together, you can go into Set Plugin. Make sure that the other one, this one is hidden. You have, by making sure it's hidden, you just don't have that icon on. So off like that. So you can have either two selected. We're going to combine them. We're going to go into plugin. We're nearly 40 minutes. You see how the time flies. So set plugin. Oh, I've been talking for over an hour now. So set plugin, subtool master, and we tell them to merge them. This is before I do that. Let me show you. Set plugin here, subtool master. You can do a lot of things for just subtools. You can do things like append them multiple. You can export them, merge them. This fill I never use it. Mirror, fill, visible subtools. I don't know. inverts visibility, just manipulation of operation just directly to in the subtools section. So this is a plugin that's been for a while from the beginning, I think. So we go here to merge, and we tell them merge, but delete the extra subtools. So we're gonna merge these two, and whatever these two were there before, we're just gonna delete them, and we just kept the one that is merge, and we hit OK. Okay, you can see that now this one is selected, and this is the one that we had before. Okay, you just move it to the bottom. Let's move it up. So you can see now these two are combined, and if we're gonna go back to the way it was, all we had to do is take this guy, and then do the I'm gonna combine it into a single polygroup, auto group or group visible is the same because they're on a single polygroup. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna go into geometry, and we're gonna go into Dynamesh, and then I think it was about 400, and then we hit Dynamesh, and then you can see we combine them again. So we're going back to this section again. So don't worry that, but no harm's done. And again, it's just you lose a little bit of detail in the edges, but that's fine. You can improve the edges later on. Okay, so you got that. Okay, if you want to do that mechanical thing that we talked about, we can just probably cut it and then create polygroups and then extrude them out a little bit, or extrude them, push them in, and I can show you. I think if I press, let me try again another thing if I can mess it up again before I wrap this up. I'm gonna press Control Shift, and I'm gonna go into Slice Curve, and I'm just gonna draw here. Okay, press Alt twice. Again, I'm just gonna keep it like that. Okay, so it will create me two polygroups. Okay, those polygroups we're gonna tell them to do what am I gonna do? Oh yeah, geometry, and we're gonna go into edge loops, and we tell them to do group loops, but this time we're gonna do two group loops, no polish, because it's quite sharp at the moment. I'm gonna create two, and then we tell them to group loop, and create a group here. Okay, it's still mess up a little bit the edges. So let me undo that again, and then I'm gonna polish it a tiny touch, maybe 10. Okay, that's fine. And then here we can just press, we can say one of those polygroups like this. I want to increase the brush size. We can take, this is quite critical to select now because they're quite small. This is completely good. You don't have to do this now, it's just an idea how can you do that mechanical thing. So if you press Control Shift into the selection mode and you click here, you can hide everything else. Okay, you have only that edge selected. Now you press Control, okay, mask it, Control Shift, click, shows everything, okay, and you press Control click to invert the mask. So that is the one that now is unmasked. Okay, and now if you press Control and click, it will smooth this out. And now you can make use of, in the deformation section, one section called polish. So you do that, it will polish things out a little bit. It will make these lines smoother. Okay, just a tiny touch, and then I'm gonna go again, and I'm gonna hit the button, this button, inflate. I'm gonna put it to negative, so it goes in. You can see I can create a little cut inside there. Now, when I got this, you got sort of mechanical cut. But it's not 100% too smooth, but you can clip it later on and make it harder if you want to. This is just an idea. Okay, this is good for blocking out if you want to create this sort of mechanical look. There are many ways of doing this, guys, but I think this probably would have done is I could have probably set remesh the geometry, and that's something that we're going to cover later. And like I said, for now, details like this, perhaps stay away from them. You can do them later on. With if you have cleaner topology, instead of having Dynamesh topology, you can have ZRemesh topology, which is nice and clean. And those, when you smooth them, they're going to be nice and crisp. But for now, just to let you know, stay away from this for now if you want. But I think it would be a good introduction to know that you can actually smooth things, blur them. And again, if you have a look at these tutorials, when you have a look at these tutorials, then you can create questions, and then I'll be happy to answer them. Okay. So again, I'm going this. And I'm nearly running out of time now. So again. So I'm gonna go into the other one, which is this one, and I'm gonna do the same thing, filling up. So again, I'm gonna stop this now, guys, and then I'm gonna come back to the other one and then continue in the next video, okay? Because I need to take a break. All right, thank you very much, guys. All right, bye-bye.